A senior concept artist for Firewalk Studios, the developer that published Concord, that was recently shut down less than 2 weeks after it was released, has revealed that employees are, quote, terrified of the future, end quote. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. And this was initially reported by Smash JT over there at smashjt.com. And this senior concept artist, her name is Amanda Kiefer, and she posted this on X. I believe these posts have now been deleted, and she has protected her account. But this is what she had to say, what these posts read. She wrote this. I was going to DM you after seeing this, but this site makes me pay to do that. So at the risk of getting dogpiled, I'm just going to say this here. A lot affected the art side of Concord, including design by committee, failure of some leadership to listen to the art team, etc. The character concept art team, including myself, is going through an extremely difficult time emotionally, and some of the team no longer want to work in games, design characters, or even do art anymore after this. Because of this, posts like yours, though understandable, are unfortunately ill-timed. None of us know which way the wind will blow with the studio. We are worried, sick, and terrified of the future. Not only that, but we have been shouldering the brunt of the emotional labor as executives, directors dodge most of the blame. I'm not sure if that is true. Maybe that is what she's talking about internally. I think most people looking at this from the outside are clearly blaming the top level executives for approving all of this absolute nonsense, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who have the final say and the buck stops with them. Now, that's not to say that people like Kiefer, as well as John Wisniewski, the lead character designer, do not have fault as well. They do too, given the fact that they're the ones who actually designed some of these pieces of or these characters, and they're absolutely ugly. One of the main criticisms of the game, aside from the injection of woke ideology, regards to the pronouns for the various characters, and clearly the pushing of transgender ideology with the introduction of a transgender character, something that they were clearly going to do in their cinematic vignettes through the narrative of the game that they had planned to release monthly. I think they were going to be rolling out weekly, but they're going to roll out new vignettes every season for this game. So maybe that's something that's true that's happening internally, but I think most of the blame is going to executives externally. She didn't stop there, though. Kiefer added this. Behind the scenes of all this talk about Concord and character designs, people's livelihoods are at risk, and there are very real financial consequences that might hurt us even more. She then concluded saying, that's just what I can say from our point of view. I'm not saying change course or anything. Us artists like being able to use social media to promote our work and get more jobs. But I'm saying we see this, and it does absolutely affect us since we just got our teeth kicked in. So that is what Amanda Kiefer had to say, indicating that they are terrified for the future. They don't know what is going to happen, and it is likely that there will be significant layoffs at Firewalk Studios, and potentially even more, saying very real financial consequences. I do not think it is out of the realm of possibility that this studio, which Sony just bought in 2023 last year, might actually get shut down after the release of this first game, given the fact that they've already canceled the game less than 2 weeks after it was released. So I think it's a very real possibility that this game does indeed, or this studio does indeed get shut down after the failure of Concord. I think we have some recent examples in the past. We saw what Square Enix did with Luminous after their bomb with Forspoken. They shut that company down and absorbed a number of the employees into Square Enix proper. We saw that Volition was shut down by Embracer Group after Saints Row absolutely bombed. So I do think that there is precedent that Firewalk Studios gets shut down as well. Now, whether or not these people get absorbed into PlayStation Studios or moved around to other studios, that is very possible. But I do think that Firewalk Studios might go the way of the dodo and will no longer exist. So let's move on, because there is some irony here. Her posts came just days after she claimed that gamers would not have any games to buy at all because they opposed woke ideology being injected into them. You have Mighty Keef here. Massive disingenuous posts writing, "This is why grifters are a cancer to the gaming community. They take any source they find, no matter if it's unverified or out of context, and they attach it to games or topics where they don't belong." You got the creator of Tekken literally telling them they are wrong. Mighty Keith is a complete and utter idiot, has no clue what he is talking about here because he's posting Manga Lawyer, who is literally citing a presentation that an employee from Bandai Namco was giving regarding their game Blue Archive, which is getting shut down. I think that's what it's called, Blue Archive, which is getting shut down. Might get the name wrong there. It was like some MMO that they were developing. They had it in Japan. It was supposed to be published in the US, in the Western world through Amazon. That's no longer happening. But she was literally talking about how she was inspired by DEI based on all of these activists in the West and what all the Western publishers are pushing. And they decided to put that in there. She gives like this whole presentation. There is a massive, massive article from a Japanese source discussing it. And I think the guy from Tekken is just kind of confused. And he thinks that they're talking about Tekken when they're really just talking about Bandai Namco, and a Mighty Keith trying to use that as a bat. Unfortunately, it just makes him look like the fool that he is right now. It's just the role that he's playing, I guess, or the role that he has chosen to play there. But it is what it is. But she responded to that saying, pretty soon these weirdos will have no games to buy at all. Sure, no one has any problems with that. If you're going to continue to push woke ideology in video games, then we won't be buying them. I mean, it's simple as that. No one has any problems doing that. There are plenty of games in our back catalogs that we can play. We can go back and play older games. They still have replayability. We do not need new games full of woke ideology to purchase. Challenge accepted. No problems there. But just kind of just shows you her disdain for individuals that are opposed to her ideology. And she is indeed an activist. So I just kind of go over the that her post here was August 30th. And like 4 days later, Firewalk Studios was announcing that Concord was shutting down. You literally can't make that stuff up. You can't make it up. So she's like, soon these winners will have no games to buy at all. And it's like, yeah, you're no longer working on Concord anymore, and you might not have a job. So you literally, I mean, you can't make that stuff up, right? But as previously noted by Smash JT, Kiefer is indeed an activist. She wrote this in 2020, confirming that she's a feminist. She wrote, "I am a feminist. I want to see a woman president more than anything." But she recently completely dropped her progressive agenda and is actively trying to stop progressivism in the party. I can't support that. And there's a lot of people out there like me terrified to speak up. So there you go. Confirmed activist wanting a progressive agenda and describing herself as a feminist. In October 2020, she made it clear that she has disdain for people who oppose her. Politically, she says, "Right now, Trump supporters are filling the streets and highways of my hometown, and the police do not mind one bit while people are intimidated at polls and attacked at protests. This is a dangerous cult." If you actually click the link, it's literally talking about how Black Lives Matter were marching through the streets, and there was like a counter protest there, and then violence broke out between those two. But it's only the Trump supporters that are the bad ones, not the Black Lives Matter supporters that literally want to destroy the nuclear family and are promoting transgender ideology and are all about identity politics. And the co-founders of that organization have made it very clear that they are trained Marxists. So then she said, "It hurts to see this happening in my beautiful hometown. This is terrifying." She likes to use that word a lot. It's terrifying. Really scary to post. I mean, she does this quite often, it looks like. And then in November 2020, she says, "I'm not sure why people aren't talking about Trump's 1776 commission, where he will further whitewash the teaching of American history in schools. He wants to make it so slavery, genocide, and this systematic destruction of POC is not taught in schools. He will still be here for a lame duck session, and he is most likely going to try to ram this through. This is beyond terrifying." I think there's another one as well. I don't know if obviously I didn't include this in this article. She says that she thinks that Trump supporters are brain dead. Let me pull it up right here real quick. Here it is. You can see she wrote this February 2021. "I think it's wonderful to win over Trump voters. Many are brain dead, but many are not. And it's great to bring right people left." There's another one here as well. Here's a post from June 7, 2024 regarding the criticisms that gamers were levying at Silent Hill 2. given the redesign of the characters. She wrote this: Silent Hill 2 is my favorite game of all time, and right-wing fans complaining about the way Angela looks in the remake is telling. We are talking about a character who is a sexual assault incest victim. Victims like this often gain weight, cover up as much as possible. This is completely contrary to the actual criticism. She's not even addressing that point at all, is the fact that the character would look a certain way in the original game and they completely changed the character. And she's just trying to justify those changes, not actually trying to stay true to how the character was originally depicted in the game. So you can kind of see how disingenuous she is, and the fact that she is really indeed an ideologue, and that's all she is really about. And she uses her art to do that. And that's probably why she probably even joined Concord. Remember, we had the person from Remedy admitting that they wouldn't have joined Remedy if Control did not have a female protagonist. So these people are actively getting involved in these companies to push this agenda. Kiefer has admitted that she's a feminist and she has a progressive agenda that she wants to push. And that's exactly what she tried to do with Concord. And now she's trying to play the victim, saying that she's terrified after the public rejected that agenda. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know what you make of Amanda Kiefer here and her comments about what the staff at Firewalk Studios are currently experiencing after their game Concord was shut down in less than 2 weeks after it was released. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, but to always speak the truth.